biggest waste of time we regret when we get older?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is this something you've been thinking of?
No, don't you think about your regrets? Do you think about your regret in your life?
I mean, I have thought of. I don't like ruminate on them.
One time, my dad was dying. You know, when your parents are dying, you have these conversations. You know, my dad, what do you regret? My dad, I loved him. He said to me, "You know what I regret?" What's that? I never bought a new car.
Isn't that funny?
I'm like, what? That's the thing you regret? He goes, yeah. He goes, I always wanted to smell that new car smell. Of course, with us, we never had new cars.
Right, of course.
There was never any new car smell. But that was my dad's regret.
It could be a lot worse.
Could be a lot worse.
People have a lot more violent regrets than that.
Heck yeah. I mean, okay, so this is kind of a mix mash. I saw this at Get Pocket. So some people say this is just sort of a non-scientific study of people's regrets.
Okay.
Not asking for help.
Oh, man. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come out of yourself and enough to ask. And a lot of people just don't do that. A lot of people don't do that.
My kids
don't do that.
They will not ask for help. Like at school, like with, go
to the teacher.
The advisor.
Right. Go
ask for help.
Go to your professor and say, I don't understand this.
And I think it's a combination of, for a lot of people, not asking for help is it's awkward, it's fearful, it's maybe shameful, and you're afraid to look incompetent, maybe.
Yeah, and I think there's this feeling, I should know this already.
I'm big on asking for help.
Oh my gosh, I am too.
I am,
but I think that comes with maturity.
I don't know if it does or not. I just think...
Maybe because in my life it came with maturity, because when I was a young person, I had a terrible time asking, being honest with somebody and saying, I don't understand this. Huh. Yeah, that really retarded my musical growth in particular.
That you wouldn't ask for help, really?
Because I always felt like if I was asking a question, a musical question, that it was giving away the fact that I should have learned it earlier. Which maybe I should have learned it earlier.
So there was a little shame there.
So there was always shame. And I probably should have learned it earlier, but it wouldn't have been that big of a deal to just say I never learned this.
Help me out here. Just help me out.
But yeah, I would be so much further along musically if I would have done that as a kid.
Interesting. I always think, because I had a big family of all these brothers and sisters, I always ask for help. I'm clueless, And so your other brothers and sisters, for me, it was like they had already been there. They did that. So it was easy for me to kind of go, how's this work? What's this mean? I don't know.
Plus, they're kind of your peers, right? That's easier than asking a teacher or a coach or something like that.
Yeah, right. It was kind of built in. So, especially having a big brother who's 6 years older, you're going to go, this guy knows. So ask for help. Okay. Biggest regrets? Trying to make bad relationships work.
Oh, it's the most exhausting thing in the world.
I mean, there's a lot of emotion in romance or friendships, and it's hard to tell when you should keep on trying or when you should just cut bait.
Yep. This isn't working.
And I'm not espousing divorce here by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at
but
all.
Anybody, everybody's had relationships. You kind of go, what? I worked at that, or I tried to. What was that all about? Well, that was stupid of me. I should have just been done with it.
I almost married somebody else before I met my husband, and it was just so. It was one of those relationships that was agonizingly difficult all the time.
For you.
For both of us.
For him too.
Just difficult all the time. We were always fighting. There was always an argument about something, or always.
But you thought you were going to marry the guy.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Look how different your life would have been.
I think about that probably every day.
Really?
Seriously, every day. My life would be totally different. I would be totally different.
Of course.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Exactly. I mean, how many therapist offices are filled with that conversation, trying to make this relationship work, or it didn't work, and I have regrets and sorrow because I couldn't after all this time.
Yep.
Okay. The biggest waste of time, the regrets that we get as we get older, dwelling on your mistakes and shortcomings.
Do you know anything about that, John?
Are you kidding me? I live the gospel
I know.
of dwelling on my mistakes and shortcomings.
I know.
And I don't know what that means about what that says about me, but there's something that I just like. You think about that relationship thing that you could have. I do this all the time. And I go, why would I even bother to think about it? It's like years in the past for the most part. But there I am, like, dissecting it, thinking about it. I mean, sometimes last thing at night, first thing in the morning, there it is in front of me. And I go, are you not okay? Have you not done okay here?
Yeah. But you're still thinking about that thing you should have done.
I'm thinking about New York City in 1985, standing out at 1501 Broadway, wishing I would have done this differently, so that would have changed, and then that would have happened, and I would have done this. And I can see myself standing there doing this thing.
Well, isn't that endemic to performing? If you're a performer,
I guess
that's what it is. Because so much of performing, regardless of what you're performing, is that. If I would have met that person, or if I would have handled that conversation differently, I would have ended up at that club, and then I would have gotten the gig there, and then I would have.
To me, I think it's about desire. How bad do you want it? And I wanted something so bad, and I couldn't make A plus B equals C for me. So I go back and go, wait a second, let me look at that again.
Yeah, why couldn't I do that?
Right. The regret. Again, that's why therapists are in business.
Yes, right.
Other regrets people have? Worrying too much about what other people think.
As your dad used to say, you know what people think about you?
What?
They don't.
They're too busy thinking about themselves. Right?
That's okay. So that's
human nature as
but
well.
that's another reason why people aren't asking questions, right? Because they're concerned about what people think. That's a lot of the reason why people don't pursue different job opportunities, right? They're afraid of what people are going to say or what people are going to think. So much of that is because they're afraid of we're afraid of what people are going to say or think.
I wonder, some people have the opportunity of a long exit from life, right? That they see that their illness will overtake them. So what would that be like to have that ability to have that gift of time and to settle your accounts, whether...
Yeah, but there's no settling. I don't think there...
You don't think so?
Not completely. I don't think that there's I think one of the frustrations with the human condition is that God is the only settler to me. It's not that we have no part to play, but in big ultimate questions like that, like, why didn't I, or what about, I feel like a lot of that has to be left in God's hands because we're prisoners of time.
But what about...
We can't go back.
Well, what about in AA, they talk about one of the steps is to make amends.
Make amends.
And I don't do that on my deathbed.
Right.
It's a little too late.
Yeah. No,
you want to make amends.
I do think that's
You want
important.
to close the deal,
Right. I was thinking more...
Free yourself.
I was thinking about your...
Regret.
Thing about regretting...
1501 Broadway.
Exactly. The things that didn't happen or that show you didn't do. That's more what I was thinking of. That you're never going to reconcile that on your deathbed.
No.
If you have a slow exit from life,
No.
you're not going to be...
Did that agent finally call me? Did he call? Because it's a little late. Did you lose my number? Is that what happened?
He's on hold.
Well, it's about...
Hey, Johnny. Just thinking about you.
Grief.
I don't know. Time is strange. And I hope when that time comes that there is... Because I remember my dad dying. And my dad was... I don't know this to be certain, but from my perspective, I always thought he was terrified.
Oh,
when
of dying. Yeah.
And I don't want to be terrified.
Yeah.
I want to be at peace. My mom, I believe, 100% she was at peace.
Yeah. Well, knowing, being called, Jesus calling, I no longer call you servants because a servant doesn't know what his master's doing. I have called you friends. I mean, that is such an amazing thing. If you don't know that, being afraid is the only appropriate response.
But I believe, don't you believe that many people who still know that are also
Of
terrified?
course, because none of us have done it. I'm terrified. Everybody's
Are you terrified with
of
the
it.
prospect of your death?
Oh yeah, of course. Aren't you? No,
Not
you're
particularly.
not. Okay. I mean, I'm not like I don't. I'm
Maybe
not. I'm not laying up at night thinking about it. But oh yeah,
I mean, it's coming.
it is. I mean,
It's coming.
it is.
Terrified in what way? How would you be like?
Because you don't know the dead. I'm good with the dying is the painful.
process,
It's
the process.
Yeah, it's completely unknown. It's an untraveled path for each person, and you can't not go down it.
If I'm there, I'll give you a thumbs up.
Which,
Okay. Hey, Kat, it's okay.
Except you're still going to be wondering what happened with the agent.
1501 Broadway.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to be in glory, and John's going to be like, "Yeah, but what about the
What?
agent?"
1501. What happened there?
And on that happy note,
Okay, all right. I mean, we were sort of like, this is like one of those like 3 a.m. conversations in the college dorm room, wasn't it?
I'm working on 5 hours of sleep, you guys.